My goodness, recording in progress, huh? Already, okay. Well, I'm sitting here with Gloria and we will be waiting for others to come in. In the meantime, I am going to put my PowerPoint on so we can hear some beautiful music.
Now, if it's recording, will it not record us chatting?
Oh, yeah, it does. It records us chatting. Can we, I don't know how to, though,
What if we mute
stop
it?
the recording. I don't know. Okay, well, then I can't play the music if I mute it.
Yeah.
Maya, are you there? Here. I don't see that it is on.
It's recording because look.
Oh, there it is. Okay. Maya, if you're there, can you turn off the recording until the class starts? Because I'm going to put on my music and my music probably won't sound too good on the recording. Let's see. Well, I'll just go ahead and see what I can do here. Maybe the music will mute us out. That's possible.
Maybe.
That's possible. Okay. There we go. Share sound. Then we'll play the slideshow from the beginning. All right, we're gonna have a fun class tonight. Glasses get dirty. You don't have to do anything and they get dirty. We just put ourselves in the middle of the pattern there. Yeah. Well, how are you this evening?
I am well, except I have a sore back.
Very good. Well, I have been missing a number of noon prayers because I've been doing other things, you know, and So I hope that doesn't discourage people from being in the class. I was there today, but nobody stayed for the class. I'm assuming that people who don't stay for the class will be interested in that. It's people, and we're doing a little special thing for Passover.
Okay.
And you've had a Seder meal.
I had
Couple
two.
of them.
I had two. Yeah.
Well, good for you. Good for you.
First one was it was probably mostly a family gathering because because it was Passover. The second one was because I met with my daughter and son-in-law and grandson. We didn't stay for the whole 6. And
Yeah, and they have readings and prayers. Oh, it does. It goes on and on.
yeah.
When you do a real one.
So what they did is
Yeah.
they fed us as we got there. And so,
Very
you know, when others were just starting,
Right.
we were done.
Right. There you go.
And it was very good. It was catered for about 40. And also and these kids are like
All seated.
seated.
Oh my gosh.
And these kids are younger than Jennifer, I think. Yeah, and they're huge. Now, I think it's not always set up with a long table like that, because I think they had to move some of the furniture from the family room to the basement, so they set up these long tables. But it's huge, like from here to the end of
Turn the music up a little bit. There we go.
that was one thing. Also, thing. That doesn't seem like
Oh, wow. Oh, that was really special.
It was very nice, yeah. Yeah. Oh, small multiplied.
That is good.
There's someone that was used to be my dentist, and yeah, well, he's 84 now. So when COVID came, although he wasn't,
Yeah. Yeah. COVID was quite a lot of changes. Still,
we haven't recovered.
no, we're still finding as a humanity, we're still finding our normat. We're still normalizing again. What's meant to be, the normal way of doing things. We're still figuring it out. Will people be mostly working from home, or people are going back to the office, but a lot of people are still staying home. So it's like,
Yeah.
and churches like this, churches everywhere, have been struggling with getting church population back, or the congregation, congregation. And because now that everything's online, why would you get up on a Sunday morning and get dressed up?
Different in terms
It's
of
different when you connect with
yes,
people. And that's I think what people need to understand.
yes,
Is
yeah.
we could have this, we could have a whole stuff. I think we did that first evening. If people just realize the value of just being in person,
And I think realize now is how that they really don't know how to do it. So, yeah. And all the mental health
oh,
problems.
we have more people coming in. Good, Elise and Nicole, Lovely, lovely. Enjoy the music, ladies. We'll be starting very shortly. Oh, it is time to start. Okay. All right. Very good. It is 6:30. Well, Gloria and I are just here having a lovely talk. And there we are. Oh, and I've had
Almost there.
a couple of I've had some special times. I did in the nice weather yesterday. John from the group that meets here after our group.
On Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
Reverend
We
Juliet.
kind of connected, and he wanted to show me Mount. Is it Hileo? Hileo? Anyway,
Yeah.
it's about an hour
Yeah.
drive.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. And say that again, Mount Saint.
Saint-Hilaire.
Yes, Saint-Hilaire. Mount Saint-Hilaire is where I was yesterday. And that was just beautiful, the lake there and everything. So it's so good to be here with you all. Okay, so we are going to we're going to end the program here. End the program and stop the share. And we'll be back in a moment, but we're just going to see who all is here. Hello, Wilma.
Hello.
Oh, wonderful. That bread that was showing when you were on at noon prayer looked so
Yeah, I was trying to get on. I don't know what was happening. I
Yeah,
eventually
that
listened in,
bread.
but I couldn't get on properly.
You know, when we'd have these education sessions out at Unity Village, where people came for the adult education session, not the ministerial education, we did that too. But when people came from all over for these education sessions, which are now all online, we would close them with a banquet, and we would have these loaves of bread. You know, and we would break bread together it was these loaves that were made whole, and we would literally break bread together. So that was very symbolic. Thank you, Wilma. What we do. Okay. Well, Elise and Nicole and Gloria and Wilma and Maya, I know you're there. I know you're there in spirit. Maya shared her beautiful circle art and what she got out of it. Believe me, anything that we do is optional. If you haven't done it, you don't even need to worry about it. We're going to have opportunities wherever we are with any of that. These classes are they're like no pressure classes. No pressure. You be just where you are, and that is just where you need to be. Okay. So it's a lovely evening here at the office, at the church. I have doors open because the sun warmed up the office again. When the sun comes out, this office gets very warm, which is in contrast to it being very cold earlier today when it was snowing.
Yeah.
So I am going to close our office door here for just a second. It'll just take a couple seconds. Because otherwise, as the sun sets, we'll be chilly in here.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah. But I'll tell you, 15 minutes ago, this office was so hot and stuffy. Just from the sunshine that comes in. Very efficient energy there. Very efficient. Okay. Well, tonight, let's just take a deep breath and just we're going to take just a silent moment to set the day aside. Again, like whenever you set the day aside, or if anything's on your mind for later, you just wrap it up and tie a nice little bow on it mentally and put it on the shelf, and it'll be waiting for you if you want to pick it up after the class. So let's just take a deep breath and just be grateful for this day. The sun has come through. We have had 3 seasons today. and we are grateful for each. And we love that sunshine, and we love the beauty of spring and the life that is emerging. Our front slope here at the church is filled with daffodils and now tulips. And it's just beautiful, and we give thanks for the new life,
Yes.
for the light that is shining in, through, and as each of us. And so it is. So how tonight is going to go, we have a lot of informative input. Please do not feel you have to madly take notes or retain it all. It is being recorded. So I think even our conversation, which was a very pleasant conversation, got in that recording, but I think you can fix recordings so that you can, start and complete them when you want to. So tonight is being recorded for anyone who wants to listen to this class at a later time, just to let you know, as we share, that will be happening. And we're going to be sharing twice tonight. We're going to look at an overview of the cultures of Indigenous North Americans. And then we will pause, and at that point, we will have an opportunity to share our circles or art or mandala or even our object again in a very special way. We are going to, and I'll just ask a question that we can contemplate and then share from there. We don't have to write anything down. I asked for 2 pieces of paper originally because we were going to write on the second, but you don't have to write anything down. We'll just share from the heart tonight. Okay, and then we're going to look at the Passover Seder and the story behind it. And we have a little surprise sharing that story tonight. And then we will close with a closing, what I call our wisdom council, in which we will all get to contribute to raising the consciousness of humanity. And every day I listen to the news, by the way, on a daily basis when I'm fixing my meals. And I take my computer in and I do the YouTube live news, so it's current news, just to keep my ear on what is happening in the world. If they start chatting away and start getting really into it, people get all kinds of opinions and I tend to turn it off because I just want to know what is happening and what I can be holding in my heart for people, or asking myself what I can do in response. So we are going to start, and I'm going to bring the PowerPoint back to do that. And let's see, share. And I'm going to put us in let me get the slideshow going. Yeah, I need to get us out of the way of the slides there. Okay. I'm going to start right with this slide. And from the current slide, there we are. There we are. So do you recognize these words from Psalm 104? All things bright and beautiful, all creatures great and small. This is in celebration of Earth Day and of Passover. All things wise and wonderful. The Lord God made them all. And we used to sing a little Unity hymn. There was a little hymn. It probably didn't belong to Unity particularly, but all things bright and beautiful. Anybody ever sing that? All creatures great and small, all things wise and wonderful, the Lord God made them all. Anyway, there's a lovely little song we used to sing in our church choir for that, in our Unity Church choir many years ago when I was the minister in Flint, Michigan. Okay, and you can see our images are from YouTube and PowerPoint, and there's one image I used from a particular place, and I'll give credit when we get to that image. But again, I look for the free images, and I think one of these days I'll just go ahead and get a license for some of these images because there's so many beautiful images out there to use. Wise and wonderful, indigenous wisdom and the wonder of Passover. That's the name of our class this evening. We're going to start with indigenous wisdom, overview of North American cultures. So what I would like to do here is I would like to have readers. And the way to be a reader is just to start reading when we get to a slide. If some time goes by and I don't hear anything, I'll go ahead and read it myself, but you're going to hear enough of my voice tonight. So please feel free to come right in on these slides here. All right. And here is the first one, the early history.
I can go.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Will.
Ancestry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Wait.
Who said, oh, that was you, Elise? Okay.
I don't know.
You guys are small and that's wonderful.
I
You
thought
guys
that
are small and I sometimes can't see who's talking. Okay, very good. Very good.
ancestry. The ancient ancestor of indigenous Americans are believed by scholars to have been a group of nomadic hunters from Northeast Asia who migrated into the Americas between 30 and 60,000 years ago. As they spread throughout North, Central, and South America over thousands of years, they diversified into various nations and tribes whose belief structures were centered around basic means of attaining food.
Yes, so they had rituals and structures of belief that really the main core of that was how they attained food, whether it was hunting the buffalo or whether it was growing corn. Okay. All right, so who would like to read early history? These are the points of some of the early history of our hunting societies. Who would like to read about our?
I will.
Okay.
Hunting societies included animal ceremonialism, the quest for spiritual power, a masculine supreme being, annual ceremonies of cosmic rejuvenation, a few stationary places of worship, shamanism, and life after death beyond the horizon or in the sky.
Okay. All right. And
can I ask what animal ceremonialism is? It's not.
Yes, well, you get if you've ever seen the movie Dances with Wolves, you get a great example of it when they're dancing with the buffalo masks on,
Okay.
and they're calling to the spirit of the buffalo. Okay, because the way indigenous people approached hunting, it wasn't like, okay, who can get, the biggest buffalo or anything like that. It was like, thank you, spirit of, thank you, spirit of the buffalo. Thank you, buffalo spirit, for giving yourself to us, for giving your life to us to feed the people, so that the people may live. If you've ever seen the movie, either Dances with Wolves or Avatar, where they thank the spirit of the animal that they slay, who becomes part of the people. That is the attitude. That is the attitude. Yeah. Okay. And then there were the horticultural societies. So who would like to read that list? of their activities.
Okay, I'll go.
Okay.
Rain and fertility ceremonies, priestly rituals, masculine and feminine forms of the divine, year-round fertility rites, permanent shrines and temples, medicine society ritualism, and life after death in the underworld, among the clouds or in other incarnations.
Yes, yes, okay. So, for example, I know in the Southwest, there's a place called Mesa Verde where they have the cliff dwellings, the ones in the cliff, and that was an agricultural society. They grew their crops on the top, on the plateau, above, and they had, ladders to go up and down with. Which, wow, what a way to live, huh? And because they were in the gorge where and they carved their homes out of the cliffside. And so they had permanent places of ritual. They had what they called the kiva, which was the roundhouse. And the roundhouse is where they performed a lot of their rituals, with a fire in the center or a hole in the center that represented like the belly button of the earth. And if someone died, they believed that their spirit went into that belly button, and then when it was ready to emerge again, it came back out, especially when a child was given birth or something to that effect. They had these beliefs and rituals, and a permanent home until the scholars think it was years and years of drought that actually drove them out of that area. Okay, not unlike what they're experiencing in Africa again. We see it happening again. Okay, so common characteristics are belief in the familial relationship of human beings to nature. I was in you all may have, anybody ever experienced an indigenous based ceremony, like a sweat lodge or a vision quest or any of those sort of ceremonies? So I was in a sweat lodge, and in the sweat lodge there are 7 directions. We have the 4 directions: north or east, north, south, west, and the pipe is lifted to each direction. And then there is the direction above, and there is the direction below, and there is the direction within. So we did a little prayer to the 7 directions, and then we sat there, and there was a gratitude. Oh, Brother Rock, thank you for bringing us this purifying heat. No, and fire. It was like rock and fire were actual living beings that brought us this heat. And basically, a sweat lodge. Today we have them in spas and we call them saunas, but really it really was a very sacred ritual of purification. Okay, so all-knowing, all-powerful, great spirit in a variety of forms. Okay, in the hunting culture, it's a masculine spirit, but in the agricultural culture, it is both masculine and feminine, because it takes both to grow the crops. It takes the Mother Earth, and it takes the Father Sky. All right. Let's see. The immortality of the human soul is what they shared in common, moving through ethereal realms, or emerging, returning, and re-emerging from the underworld. And the underworld was not eternal damnation or hell. It was the earth, it was the underworld. It's where seeds came from when they grew, and where roots went down, and it was this life-giving womb of earth. So it wasn't a bad thing. And then sacred story, worship, and instruction as part of a daily and annual life. Okay. And here we have, now I understand that the K is pronounced more like a G. Is it Ganyan Gehaka? Gayaka. I just got the K pronunciation, and then I was instructed to do it like a G, Ganyan Gehaka, and or the Mohawk prayer. And look at this prayer. Just look at this. And I'm going to ask you to close your eyes as I read this. I just feel the power and the beauty of this prayer. And we all know the Great Spirit. Oh, Great Spirit, creator of all things, human beings, trees, grass, berries, help us. Be kind to us. Let us be happy on earth. Let us lead our children to a good life and old age. These our people, give them good minds to love one another. O Great Spirit, be kind to us. Give these people the favor to see green trees, green grass, flowers and berries this next spring, so we all meet again. O Great Spirit, we ask of you. So a lovely, lovely prayer that we could apply anytime. This is a prayer for benevolence and love and connection with nature. And this is something, like I say, if we think of the conflicts in our world and in the Middle East and in Ukraine, if we think of the divisions in our politics, and the struggles that people have, just this is what everyone wants. They just want this life of fulfillment where they wake up every day and they know, they don't just see, but they know the beauty of being alive. And here's the image of the wampum belt. And you'll see I credited it, I think, on the next slide. It is actually, this is the image of the wampum belt I was talking about on Sunday, with the tree in the center and the open rectangles representing the houses of at least 4 tribes there. You can extend it out as many tribes as you have, but this is the core of the wampum belt. And this is the flag also of the Kanien'kehá:ka people, and that's the image that I borrowed for this presentation, was the flag image, because it was very clear. A lot of old faded wampum belts were offered for free as well, but special sharing, it's time for a special sharing now. And for our special sharing, okay, if you have your artwork, that's wonderful. If you don't, that's fine too. Okay. But if you think of the circles you created, in a sense, we're creating the circle of life. These are the circles I created last week. It's like a center circle with a couple of Mickey Mouse ears on it. And then little decorative things that I use my markers, my book markers for. But if you think of your artwork and you quietly contemplate the art, or you contemplate what is in your heart. What is in your heart? And when we create something, to create is to bring something into existence from nothing. In the Hebrew Bible, when God created the heavens and the earth was a formless void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. In the beginning, when God created, the word bara there is for created, and it means to create from nothing. So really, real creation comes from nothing. In other words, no limits, no what ifs, no self-doubts, nothing chains it or binds it. It just simply is something in your heart that you want to see coming into being, like the prayer that we just read. So you can quietly contemplate your work of art, or just contemplate what is in your heart. And ask yourself what your message for life on earth is. What your message for life on earth is. And since we're not writing our message and just holding it in our heart tonight, I welcome any sharing, but just think about it for a moment. And if no one shares, that is okay too, because the silence is also a very creative space. So for me, my message, I wanted to add a little color. Besides, you cannot tell there, but it's a black, red, and blue pen, because those are the three colors I had available here in the office. And then I added the color. I just wanted to add some color, so I took my little stickies that I've been marking my books with, that I've been reading, and I added them like a necklace or something, like a circle, like encircling things in color. And I just my longing, it doesn't matter if you're colorblind, but that people see the beauty. It's like the longing of that prayer, is that people see the beauty of every day of life. And if they're in the midst of a war-torn area, that because the sun is shining, because there are other people still alive, if they can help their neighbors and start supporting, and they do very much so. You can see this in the news, very much so, support each other in building and in prayer and in coming together in community. Whenever destruction has occurred, be it natural or man-made, people come together. They come together. And so there's my circle. I just realized my little tabs are the people coming together to support each other. And this is the kind of awareness I would like us all to have as humanity, that we are on this planet together.
Yes.
That as we see the beauty in life, it's most meaningful when we can share it with each other. Or in the midst of difficulty, help each other find it. And so that's my prayer. So does anyone else have anything else to share along those lines? Again, everything is optional. It is your choice to share or not, to share or not to share. Then. Okay.
Well,
Yes.
the picture that I'd made had 3 circles interconnected, and for some reason I put a triangle in it, and then at the bottom I had 2 parts of circle interconnected as well. And I spent the first 3 days looking at this and getting kind of, I could understand why I had put the 3 circles into sort of unity within myself, unity with others, starting with unity with God. But the triangle and the lines I had put were bothering me, and I didn't know why. The third day, I turned my diagram up the other way around, upside down. And then I had a name for it. As
Oh,
above, so below.
oh,
That's what I saw.
oh,
Because the
wonderful.
other-
Like a, oh my gosh, that is wonderful.
The other side was the side of my quest, which is to live the Christ pattern within me. And the frustration on the other side was really my human frustration of always having to start over again.
Mm.
Yes.
So I found it very revealing because the thought of turning it upside down just came to me.
And that's where it comes. It's like it came out of the blue from nothing, right? That's real creation. So even that, even just turning it upside down is a very creative thing to do. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Thank you, Nicole. Thank you. You know what? I have no idea how well, if any of you remember the Expo 67 or how well you remember it. I just have some images because I was 9 years old, you know, when I went to that with my parents and my sister. And I remember there was an upside down triangular, I think it has something to do with time or something, structure in that expo. And you went up into it and you looked down into this upside down pyramid. And wow, wow, that's brilliant, Nicole. That's just brilliant. As above, so below.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Anyone else have anything to share before we continue? Okay, I didn't make us large because it just takes time to stop share and then reshare again. But I will stop the share when we're done with the readings, and so we can all see each other again for our final circle. Okay. All right. Very good. Oh, there's the image from the flag of the Haudenosaunee. Well, how can anybody say it?
I've never heard of it before.
Haudenosaunee Confederacy. Iroquois is the
No, Shawnee.
name.
Looks like there's something in the chat.
Is there something in the chat? Uh-huh.
Yeah, I put an image of the.
There it is.
Yeah.
That's it.
That
Oh my
was
gosh.
That was the Canadian pavilion.
Oh wow. Is it still there?
No,
Or-
it's
no.
gone. All
Yes.
that's left is the big the big sphere.
Uh-huh. Yes, that was
Uh,
the American pavilion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. Thank you. Thank you for that. There you go, Nicole. There's your upside down triangle. There you go. Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for finding that. Okay. All right. Good. And the wonder now, ooh, take a deep breath because we're on the same journey, but we are stopping at a different hotel called Passover. We're making another stop and a different overlook. And this is the story of Passover, the central story of the Judaic belief system is the Exodus. It is a story of birth. It is a story of freedom. It is a story of dignified humanity and the discovery of that. It is a very, very core piece of the Judaic culture. Now, much of the way that story has been interpreted over the years has been through a Christian lens. You know, Old Testament, New Testament thing. But it has its own solid Hebrew meanings. And as Gloria probably had some experience of, Gloria attended a Seder or two.
Yeah.
And if you want to share anything about that, feel free to do so, but I won't put you on the spot for it. Okay, right. And anyway, so I got an free image of the Passover plate. Now you notice there's an orange in the middle that you don't usually see those, or at least I haven't usually seen them on Passover plates. So I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. And we're going to go around the Passover plate, and we're going to look at the different things and what they culturally symbolize, and then what they metaphysically symbolize for us. So we have the bitter roots or horseradish. That's the red stuff. It's red horseradish in this case. It can be white. Bitter roots or horseradish representing the bitterness of slavery, or bitter herbs would do it as well. Something bitter to the taste. And suffering that comes, and the bitterness of slavery is suffering that comes from bondage to materialistic thinking. Now, where would I get something like that? If you all are familiar with the Lessons in Truth from Emily Cady.
Yes.
And she compared our mental emotional bondage, to the biblical bondage. Now, of course, there's no comparison to actually having a history of being enslaved, but we bind ourselves, we enslave ourselves to our own materialistic fears, and am I going to have enough? Are they going to like me? Are they, all of this kind of thing. We used to have to answer, and when I was becoming a minister, we used to have to answer the question, what is the cause of suffering according to Emily Cady? And the cause of suffering was bondage to things of the flesh. In other words, materialistic thinking. Not talking about sensuality and physicality, talking about sense consciousness, things of the material realm. And it's not that we're, it's like the distinction being made in the New Testament between, a lot of people saying money is the root of all evil. Well, that's not what it says. The love of money, the attachment to it, the bondage to it, really limits us, but money itself is a beautiful tool. It literally is an energy. It's an energy. That's why they call it currency. It's a current in our world. But when we are attached, when we must have, then we bind ourselves to it, and that causes suffering. My life must be this way. This situation must be so. This must happen exactly, this way, or I'm going to suffer. And suffering can be anything from literally being in pain from all the tension that we built up in our bodies, or it can be staying awake at night, or just having a sense of anxiousness. And suffering isn't, how can I say it? I don't even want to call suffering bad. It is what it is. But isn't it nicer not to suffer? It's just, life is a little easier. Okay, the charoset, which is this stuff. Now it doesn't look very good, but it's basically an apple and nut mix, which actually is very nice and sweet to the taste. A mixture of sweet fruits and nuts to represent the mortar and the brick made by the enslaved people, often mixed with maror. When it's mixed with maror, they're putting the bitterness of slavery into it, of being enslaved. So it is the apparent sweetness of the materialistically based productivity, never fulfilling and often leaving a bitter taste. Okay, so when we are enslaved by how much we have, how much we have in the bank, or what our status in society, when we are enslaved by that, we're never fully satisfied. We're never at peace. And that's how we can tell when we're enslaved to something. We're not at peace with it. We can have all the money in the world. If we're at peace, wonderful. Wonderful. But when we're not at peace, we're in bondage to it. I'm going to look at the time here. Okay, very good. The karpas, fresh green herbs representing new growth. This is a stem of parsley. Okay. And whatever your herb might be that you use. And then we keep continuing around the circle. The charaset, lettuce with soft leaves and bitter stalk, representing the soft beginning of living in Egypt that became hard and bitter. So in this case, they're using leaves of romaine lettuce. The ability to discern between harsh and bitter circumstances and what both have to teach us. So when we have had it soft and we've had it hard, we can tell, we know when we've had it soft and when we've had it hard, and both have been our teachers. Okay. Betza, a hard-boiled or roasted egg representing the cycle of life and new birth. And that's the potential and possibilities of new beginning. The egg. Potential and possibilities of new beginnings. Zeroa, the lamb bone, representing the sacrifice of the lamb for the protection of the people. The protection and grace of the Spirit of God within each of us. It's our framework. It's our structure. It's what we stand in. Tapus, the orange. Here's a new one. This was introduced in 1980. Oh gosh, I wrote her name down, but do I have that on my notes here? Yes, Susanna Herschel. Susanna Herschel came up. She in her family Seder, she just walked in once and she put an orange in the middle of the plate. And people said, "Oh my God, what is that?" And she said, there needs to be some recognition of the colorful inclusion of all people and ways of living. She said it's an orange because an orange has seeds, and you have to spit out the seeds to enjoy the fruit. So you're spitting out the seeds of hatred. You're spitting out the seeds of hatred and fear. So it is a mindset of inclusiveness that spits out hatred and fear, like spitting out the seeds of an orange. Okay, so there's your Seder plate. How is it?
And then the wine.
And then the wine. Well, of course.
Yeah.
There's the, yes, yes. So tell us about the wine a little bit.
Well, there's 4 cups of wine that are drunk throughout the ceremony. And actually I missed it this time because we were fed early because we had to take the little guy home. So
It's like a super sweet wine, Mogan David.
yeah,
Yep.
or sometimes they use grape juice. for it.
Yes. Yeah.
Because apparently there was a time when the Jews were accused of getting the blood from the children to drink. So
Oh, yeah.
so there was a period of time when they
Oh, yeah.
they didn't use wine, they just used grape juice.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yep.
Manischewitz is what.
Manischewitz,
is what's
that's it,
traditionally
that's
used.
it. Yes.
But we had better wine than that.
Yeah, that is super sweet.
Oh my gosh,
Manischewitz.
yes.
Yeah.
But there's just little cups that you take at various points during the meal, which goes on for hours.
And you notice just the little bit of each of these parts of the Seder plate as well. All right, so now the story itself. So you have your Passover, which is when death, as I spoke of on Sunday, when death passes over the household. Okay. And here are the plagues that got, that the people were protected from, the people of Israel, the plagues with metaphysical meanings. And I'm just going to move through these because I'm noticing our time here. Yep. Okay. Turning water to blood, or the red tide. All right. Remember I talked about their scientific, their natural causes. So here you have a toxic stream of thought that cuts off the life force. And everything that follows this is some form of toxic stream of thought, contributes to this toxic stream of thought. Just as each of the events that happens, the red tide, the frogs jump out of the water, the lice or gnats accumulate because of the dying frogs, the wild animals and flies carry the disease to the livestock. The livestock gives disease to the people, and we have boils. Then we have the thunderstorm or hail. Some people think it was a volcanic event. Some people just think it was a violent thunderstorm. Then there are the locusts, who attacked the crops, which I mean, when things are going downhill, they go downhill. And then 3 days of darkness, which can be caused by the clouds of locusts. I never heard of a 3-day solar eclipse, but that would be interesting. Man, imagine what that would do to the world. If the moon just hung out in front of the sun for 3 days. Wow. Okay. And then the death of the firstborn, which was eating diseased, the old, when all you have left is the old stuff, and it's grown fungus and mold and everything, it can carry disease too. So, and it was the Egyptians who had the things in storage. So those are the scientific things. Here we go with the thinking that these represent: a toxic stream of thought, turning water to blood. Fear, the frogs, they're escaping, basically jumping for their lives. Lice or gnats, the clinging neediness. These are parasites of over-attachment. Wild animals or flies, carrying the stuff to the livestock. When things spread like that, I remember the lyrics from Jesus Christ Superstar. What's the buzz? Tell me what's happening. You think of the flies, buzz. What's the buzz? The desire for gossip. Pestilence of livestock, insatiable appetites. When the livestock became sick, they could not be nourished, no matter what they ate. Besides, there wasn't much to eat to begin with. The boils that formed on the people because they were malnourished. and sick, open and unhealed emotional wounds, the thunderstorm of hail and fire. Now, if you're not feeling well, you're likely to get ticked off a little bit. So violent anger, whether it's verbally or otherwise. The locusts, vengeful thinking, desire to destroy what is of value to others. And 3 days of darkness, pessimistic outlook. At all three levels of being spirit, soul, and body. And death of the firstborn, feeling lost and disconnected, death of hope. Well, what are you gonna do about that? When you're having, whether it's any one of these or more in combination, when you're just kind of caught up in that stream of being, time to take a deep breath and have a new birth. And how does that new birth happen? All right, here's the surprise. We're going to get a little clip from the 10 Commandments here. And I want you to just watch this and just we'll share for a couple minutes how it affects us, how it makes us feel. Just watching this moment here. Oh, it's going to come on loud because the music is dramatic. It's dramatic and loud. So be prepared. It'll jump right in there being loud. Oh, I'm sorry. I did that, I think. Okay, here. I'm just going to start it over. Okay.
You cannot reach the fire of God.
Being slowed down a little for us.
Your families and your flocks, we must go with all speed.
Go where? To drown in the sea? How long will the fire hold Pharaoh back?
After this day, you shall see his chariots no more.
No! You'll be dead under them!
The Lord of hosts will do battle for us. Behold his mighty hand.
The wind opens the sea!
God opens the sea with the blast of his nostrils.
Lead them through the midst of the waters. His will be done.
Okay. So that's the clip. And
I can't imagine what it was like to see that in the 1950s. It must have been amazing.
I saw it at its 10th anniversary release. It was I think it came out the year I was born. And then my dad took us to see it when he was the minister in Philadelphia, and we saw it at one of those big movie houses, and they have the intermission. I mean, it's like a whole formal evening. Now here was my dad's response. What are you all feeling when you see that? First of all, I want to know what your response is before I move to the next slide, which is kind of a spoiler alert there on the next slide. So yeah, because when I see this, I don't know if it's because I've seen that movie since I was a child or what it is, but it still moves me. It's very, like I say, very dramatic, very powerful. It's like the power of God. All of God's power is right there. in
Yeah.
in the special effects of Hollywood.
That scene where you have the three women that just look like this with the wind in their hair. It's
Yes.
a really powerful just shot. And yeah, it's very impressive even today.
Even today, yes. So here's what my dad said after he saw it. You know, of course he said, wow. He said, that was some movie. He said, and then he looked up and he said, but that's not exactly the way it happens. And here is why he said that. Whoop, I'll move on. There we go. Okay, because what we know, and this is not just, this is what we know. And what I mean by we, I mean the whole, anybody who has looked at the meaning of the words in the Bible, this is what we know. The Hebrew word for what was taken as Red Sea, which is not in the book of Exodus, by the way, it just says the sea parted and the dry land appeared. It's in the Song of Miriam, but it was Yam Suf, and it literally means sea of reeds, but it was mistranslated as Red Sea. So we're thinking this big, deep sea. But basically it's a marsh.
Yeah.
It's a marshland we're talking about. And Homa, okay, so the Bible verses, then Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and we see the Charlton Heston Moses model there. The Lord drove the sea back by a strong east wind all night and turned the sea into dry land, and the waters were divided. The Israelites went into the sea on dry ground, the waters forming a wall for them on their right and on their left. Well, what forming a wall, the word for that is homa, forming a wall, which means joining and protecting. So the wall wasn't about this huge oceanic wall. The wall was about like a barrier of water that kept the people together and joined together and protected from the Pharaoh who was chasing them. And metaphorically, the passage through the sea is the birth canal of a new nation. And metaphysically, the passage through the sea happens when we give birth to a new consciousness by joining or aligning our thoughts with divine ideas in the safety of our own inner sanctuary. Divine ideas, an easy way to know if you have divine ideas is if you have an idea that you feel is divinely inspired, or just inspired. An inspired idea. It's another way to say it. Okay. And then they get to the mountain with the Decalogue, and I said I'd give the meanings on these. It's a lot, but this is recorded. So, and by the way, I could do a whole workshop just on this page. I could do a 3-hour workshop just on this page. No other gods before God. Prioritize your spiritual life. These are metaphysical messages versus metaphysical meanings. Make no idols. While all things are expressions of the divine, this computer, this table, this sofa, each other, we're all expressions of the divine. The divine is not confined to a thing. That's what idolatry is when we confine the divine to something, if we don't have this thing, we don't have the divine in our lives. Well, that's silly, because the divine is everywhere, expressing through everything. Okay. Choose not to take the Lord's name in vain. And the reason I say choose is because the language is thou shalt not. Thou shalt not. In other words, it doesn't say stop it, don't.
Yeah.
It says you won't. You won't. Okay. So choose not to take the Lord's name in vain. The name of God is the divine spirit of your being. So to take your own spiritual identity, we call it the I am in unity. Take your own spiritual identity and misuse it in your speaking or even in your thinking of yourself. Okay. And it's not that we don't do these things. It's not that we never break these laws or decrees. But when we're off kilter, we know because of our suffering. And then our suffering is actually a clarion call to bring us back to center. Okay. Remember and keep the Sabbath. Your time alone with God is your Sabbath and your source of peace. That's what keeping the Sabbath is keeping your time with God. Honor your father and mother. Your father and mother gave you birth. Honor that which gives you life. Honor the things that give you life, that you feel more life from. Choose not to commit murder. And this is what Ed Rabel, one of my great metaphysical teachers, said. Give everyone safe passage through your mind. How about that one? Give everyone safe passage through your mind. Choose not to commit adultery. Stay focused on those who are important to you. Okay, this, yeah, it was about staying monogamous or when you're married, because reproduction and being fruitful and multiplying was very important to the people. But and you didn't want to waste your seed, so to speak. They really believed that the seed could be wasted. But of course, over time that was found, not to be so. But what we have here is, where's your focus? Are you really fully focused on that which you love? Whether it's a person or an idea or people in general. Okay, or is your mind scattered and you're thinking all different kinds of thoughts and you're letting all these other thoughts run you? All right, let's see. Choose not to steal. You cannot take and hold to what is not truly yours, nor can you lose what truly is. Okay, so both of those things are very important. And choose not to bear false witness. Bear witness to the truth in all things. And the spiritual truth. Look for the spiritual truth in all things. And choose not to covet. Trust that all you need is already within you, and act upon this faith. There's no need to covet. Basically, what this is saying is, you don't need to do this, and you don't need to do that, and you don't need to do this. Okay, there's not some great dramatic decree that we made it all. We turned it into that, we human beings. Great dramatic decree that you're condemned forever if you don't follow it and all that kind of thing. No, it's just, this is just a God. This shows us when we're not feeling right, when we're feeling off kilter, well, time to recenter, time to refocus. Time to give everyone safe passage through our minds. Time to set aside time for God. All right. And finally, our closing circle. Oh, we're a little beyond time, but not much. Special sharing. Okay. Oh, we're going to start with our offering blessing, and we're going to bless whatever our gifts are and whenever we give them to Unity Center of Montreal. You can bring it in an envelope. You can bring it in on a Sunday. You can drop it off, or you can send it in to Unity Center of Montreal. But whatever that gift is, just again, just put it in the palms of your hands. And if you don't have the material gift right now, then just have the energetic gift in the palm of your hand. The gift of love, and let yourself be inspired from nothing, from just pure spirit of what it is you are called to give and how you're called to give it. And so we'll say our offering blessing together. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I joyously give, and all that I joyously receive. Beautiful. Okay, and since this is our last time together for a while, I want to close with a counsel of wisdom, and I'm going to stop the share so that we can see each other. And here we are sitting in the council circle. Okay. And our counsel of wisdom is just a one word or a brief phrase that we I just got it. See, it just popped in. Whatever pops in your head that we are giving as a teaching for each other. Okay, one word or a brief phrase. And as each person speaks, let's listen to that individual as though it is, we're the disciples sitting around and Jesus himself is speaking. Let's listen to that person because we truly are each the Christ in expression. So, who would like to start sharing their wisdom in a word or a brief sentence? I'll give you an example because this is the one that popped into my mind, and then we can share. Okay, so the example is be true to yourself. Okay. So who else in this council of wisdom would like to share?
Let us love each other as we have been loved.
Mine was be compassionate.
Mine would be look at all the colors.
I didn't hear what Lisa.
Look at all the colors.
Look at all the colors.
Listen attentively to what people are saying.
And there you have it. The greatest wisdom of the evening. Right from who we are. And Maya, are you there? No, I think she's co-hosting me so I can do this. That's why her name is there. Okay, very good. All right. It has been a joy being with you for these 1, 2, 3, or 4 classes, depending on how much you have attended. And we'll be together again in this way, I am sure. And bless you.
Thank you.
Namaste.
Yes.
And you know what namaste means? See it now. I'm inspired to sing. Okay, so you'll have to bear with it when I'm inspired to sing. I used to sing like arias and things like that, but now my older voice is not quite what it used to be. But it still comes through every once in a while. So yeah. This is a song that came to me to use an old Unity song, I Behold the Christ in You, because that's what Namaste said. It basically is, I behold the Christ in you. So I did the whole song, but I'll just do the first verse. I behold the Christ in you. Here the life of God I see. I can see a great peace too. I can see you whole and free. Namaste, 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 namaste. Namaste.
God bless you.
Bless.